Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm, of course, Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp, dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. They tested them in Gaza. Now they're ready for American cities. The same AI-powered drones that helped Israel identify and track targets in one of the most surveilled war zones on Earth in history are quietly being rolled out in American cities under the label of public safety. Meet Skydio, the Silicon Valley company that reportedly shipped over 100 autonomous reconnaissance drones to Israel for urban operations in the Gaza conflict. These drones are capable of flying in GPS-denied environments, performing 3D scans of all buildings, using thermal imaging and tracking human movement through dense areas, all autonomously. They were battle-tested in a real war zone. Now they're ready for the community war zone here in the States.
Get airborne in 20 seconds. Operate remotely from anywhere in the world and get the data you need to act. For public safety agencies, Skydio DFR Command is the ultimate software suite for drone operations. Respond to incidents with a single click, share live video with ReadyLink, and use augmented reality overlays for precise visual orientation. Manage your fleet, upload evidence, and build community trust. It's all at your command.
To be able to pre-position drones on top of, let's say, police stations, and those drones being able to remotely deploy and operate beyond visual line of sight for drone operations is the game changer.
We want drones in docks all over the city of Oklahoma that can respond to a call, can respond to an officer, and give them eyes in the sky before they even arrive on scene. Seeing what the dock for X10 can do up here, I think we're one step closer to making that a reality.
Skydio X10 dock is definitely the future for drones from our perspective. Skydio was able to deliver on that technology.
We have two of them up here being launched remotely, and it's working. You know, there's over 40-mile-per-hour winds, it's over 100 degrees, and it's been able to work in situations where we never dreamed we'd be able to use a drone.
So according to an outlet called The Gray Zone and documentation from the American Friends Service Committee, Skydio drones were used by the Israeli military to map, scan, and track movement in the ruins of Gaza, a live testbed for AI-driven reconnaissance. These systems built real-time maps of destroyed neighborhoods, locating targets through thermal and optical imagery, often without clear distinction between civilians and combatants. Now those same platforms, Skydio's X10 and X2 series, are being adopted by hundreds of U.S. police departments, many with federal funding and integrated through Axon's Evidence Cloud, the same company behind police body cams and taser systems. We've seen all the different types of body cam videos, and we all see that Axon logo, Axon, not Exxon, logo in the upper right-hand corner. This is going to be the same cloud storage system that's used for that. It's key that we understand that there's going to be cloud storage. It's very important that we understand the cloud storage concept, meaning it can be accessed from anyone from anywhere. That means that every single street fight, every video feed, every tracking path is automatically uploaded into a centralized cloud database, searchable, storable, and shareable across all agencies that either have or are given access to this technology. The military-grade intelligence solution that mapped Gaza streets can now map your neighborhood, your gun show, your range day outing, or your next political rally. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice has already acknowledged that many of their departments are already utilizing this exact same technology. ATF, FBI, DEA, U.S. Marshals, and Bureau of Prisons operate drones for surveillance and tactical operations. The DOJ's fiscal year 2021 budget actually included millions for counter-U.S. systems and drone technology within the Bureau of Prisons. USAspinning.gov lists DOJ and ATF contracts labeled Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems, government speak for drones, going back several years. Also, the Congressional Research Service confirms that DOJ components use drones for law enforcement and national security missions currently. Translation, they're already in the drone business. The only thing missing is the public knowing what they're really using them for. Once something is included in the budget, it's always going to be included in the budget. Nobody is ever, especially new technology, is ever going to strike a budget line item. So once it's approved in last year's budget, it's going to be in this year's budget. They never take away. They always add to their budgets. So this is going to continue to grow as far as funding for this type of technology within the United States. I'm talking about civilian use. I'm not talking about monitoring just our borders. As you saw in the video, Oklahoma, middle of the country, they're using this technology already to surveil American people. And these are not hobby drones. They're built for autonomy, persistence, and precision. These things can fly in total darkness using night sense sensors. They operate without GPS, navigating through visual inertial odometry, meaning they don't need your cell tower or satellite connection to operate. They track people or vehicles with thermal cameras and object recognition. They stream encrypted live feeds directly to these cloud evidence systems, again, where multiple people can have access to them. So you could be on the other side of the world monitoring something that we're actually looking at using a drone in Oklahoma. Imagine that type of technology and power, authority to use this stuff, in the wrong hands of somebody who their job is to determine what suspicious activity is. You understand what I'm saying, right? There's no clear-cut definition of suspicious activity. So whoever is in charge of whatever, they determine that's suspicious activity. You don't need to prove that it's suspicious. You just have to call it suspicious activity. Boom, the drone goes. 20 seconds to launch one of these drones, and it's on target. Now, you might assume the Constitution protects you from being spied on without a warrant. You'd be wrong. Under decades-old Supreme Court rulings, California versus Sciarrola and Florida versus Riley, aerial surveillance from public airspace does not require a warrant. If the government and anybody else can see you from the sky, they can record you from the sky. Legally, according to them. No warrant, no probable cause, no oversight whatsoever. That outdated legal logic now applies to AI-powered drones that can hover 100 feet above your backyard for hours, zoom into your windows, and stream the footage into an evidence database, and it's all considered public view. And this is video, right? You know they can collect that audio too, right? They can enhance. They can enhance the audio and listen to things, not just in your yard that they can see, but they can also surveil your home inside with this enhanced audio. Federal agencies like the Department of Justice have internal privacy policies that sound comforting, like promises to delete unused footage after 180 days or to seek a warrant where feasible. But those are policies, not laws. They carry no penalty for violation. And again, if the federal government has a policy to delete video footage after 180 days if they don't need it, do you really think they're doing that? I mean, they're continuing to add servers. They're continuing to add iCloud storage or cloud storage space to house more and more and more of this stuff. Are they really deleting anything? And when you delete something, is it ever really deleted? Now, there are a few states like Florida, Texas, and California that have laws that appear to limit police drone use without a warrant. But you got to read the fine print first. Every single one of these includes exemptions for, quote, public safety, terrorism, crime scene documentation, or exigent circumstances. All subjective stuff. It's whoever is determining that it's for public safety reasons. They define what public safety was. Remember we talked about public safety during COVID? Well, that would give them a blank check to use this because COVID and COVID restrictions and mandates were all used under the guise of public safety. So there you go, right there. You've got somebody misusing something that they determine if it's public safety or not. Not to mention deciding if it's terrorism. Joe Biden would have approved drone use on every single one of us because he said that white supremacists and white Christian males were the biggest terroristic threat to the United States. So right there, Joe Biden just determined that. Crime scene documentation. Are you kidding me? We don't know a crime has been committed yet, but we're going to say that there might be one. We need to document this. In other words, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. Doesn't matter. They've got pretty much a blank check to do it anyway. So these state regulations that are in place really don't hold any water anyway. If an agency calls your event a security concern, They can fly a drone right over it, record everything and everyone, and keep the footage as long as they want to. Now, you might be thinking, oh, you're overreacting. Surely they would not abuse this kind of technology. Are you really that naive? Do you think they're not already doing it? This is where the law enforcement tool becomes a political weapon. ATF drones could easily circle gun shows, scanning license plates, tracking attendees, logging buyer-seller interactions. Perfectly legal public airspace monitoring, perfectly useful for mass profiling. Drone footage could be used to map crowd sizes, identify organizers of different types of protests. They could create visual dossiers of attendees, all stored in cloud systems like Axon Evidence or Fusion Center databases. Again, accessible by anyone, anywhere in the world. Drones make targeted harassment really easy. Want to pressure one political group? Label their gathering a safety risk. Then record everything, save it all, and you got all your evidence. Something could pop off 5 years later. You've already recorded all this. You have all your facial recognition and everything, and you're sitting on that, quote, evidence. All you needed to do was say it was a safety risk. Boom. Clearance to video, record, and save all that information. Again, because the footage is stored in cloud systems, it can be cross-referenced months or years later. Facial recognition, license plate tracking, social media matching even. What starts as public safety becomes retroactive surveillance. You know how they say you can find some kind of a violation anywhere, anytime, if you look hard enough. If you surveil hard enough and get enough video, over the years, everywhere in the United States, sooner or later you're going to find something. When Skydio's drones were deployed in Gaza, reports say they were used to scan building interiors, map destruction, and identify movement inside dense urban environments. Even tracking heat signatures through rubble. I'm sure that was extremely helpful trying to locate some of the terrorists. That's combat tested AI right there. Now that same AI is being sold to your local police department. Friends, what begins as anti-terror in some other war zone on the other side of the world doesn't mean that it stays there. They're testing the technology to use it wherever they want it. Do you think they're like, oh, cool, this conflict is over with, let's package all our stuff up? Nope. They got a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of operational reports. They know what the weaknesses are based on using it in this area. They're building on that. They're improving upon that. All this stuff gets imported, it gets rebranded, and now it's aimed inward at us. Now, to be clear, this isn't about Skydio, one drone company. Certainly not trying to paint them in a bad light. They created technology, and just like everything else, the technology is going to be used where the most money is thrown at it. This is more about a slow, quiet shift where wartime surveillance becomes peacetime policing, and it's happening right under our noses, under our radar, literally. Once government agencies normalize AI drones over neighborhoods, they'll never stop using them. Once safety becomes justification, privacy becomes irrelevant at this point. And once citizens get used to seeing all these drones overhead, they'll stop noticing them altogether. Look, I understand that drone technology has lots of benefits. Lots. I think with wildfires, I think with hunting down bad guys, true bad guys like up in the mountains and things like that. Yes, I'm not here to say that drone use is all bad. Certainly it's not all bad. But it's like every single thing else. Once the wrong people get this stuff, and they got a blank check because they're using our money, government taxpayer funded money. Once they get that blank check to do that, and you get the wrong people in there, and again, you get like an administration like the Biden administration where nobody's ever really held responsible because nobody knows who's really calling the shots. We knew it wasn't the guy filling his diaper up, sitting on the beach, struggling to keep the spit in his mouth. We knew it wasn't him. So when you don't have somebody who is the face of an administration, again, I know Biden was, but he wasn't the one calling the shots, then nobody is held to account. That's when the most abuse takes shape, like it did during the Biden administration. That'll happen again. It's coming back around again. I think they saw that, hey, we can actually install a puppet and we can still do things behind the scenes to make things happen, and nobody's really held accountable. That's where the danger is. The wrong people utilizing this to fulfill their own goals. Can you imagine how many drones probably surveilled the Mar-a-Lago estate of Donald Trump and how many will in the future? You can believe this. Everything they do is going to begin as a public safety initiative. And then they're going to cross the lines because guess what? They're writing the rules to determine what is a public safety initiative. We don't have a say in that. Every free society loses its freedom. In this case, one quiet drone at a time. Friends, if you liked the video, please tell your friends about it. Tell them to come over here, subscribe to the Legally Armed America YouTube channel, like the video, comment down below. Am I overreacting to this? This is some interesting stuff. Look, I'm fascinated by the technology, but I also recognize and understand the abuse that's going to take place, and that's likely already taking place. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.